There will be spoilers ahead. Lots of spoilers, so be careful, won't you? Oh my God, Laverne, did you see what Polenta was wearing today? I mean, could you ever?
Patty, you don't have to tell me. I could hear that dress before I even got to school. She has got to go down in the book.
Oh, you're so right. Grab the bumpy book off the shelf. We have some burning to do.
Ooh, remember what you wrote about Margarina? So grody. That was classic. Oh, and Sherbet Schwartz, total hoe. You have a way with words, Patty.
I know. It's a natural, gift. Give it here. Let's see. Polenta Jones. Plaid is my favorite flavor.
So strike.
Laverne, let it go. Strike is never gonna happen. But shut it, or you'll end up in the bumpy book yourself, and I personally will strike you from Max Mike Movies. Oh, high school, were you ever so delightfully delicious as portrayed in this week's movie, Mean Girls? According to that bastion of truth, the internet, this is one of the most quotable movies of all time, at least American films. But is it? In quotes, unquotes, and quotes, we're looking at movies people, like us, love to quote. But who are we to judge? Well, over there in his robes and white powdered wig is his juicy judiciousness, Max Hang-'em-High Levine. Give us a verdict, Max.
Guilty, guilty, guilty.
And I, standing on a box in the dock, am Mike, permanent defendant, Loose. Together, we take movies to court and declare our decrees. Or something. But before you hear what we have to say, you get to hear what you had to say. Poll question. First off, pardon my voice. This is as good as it gets, so enjoy, won't you? Because, anyway. Last week, we asked you, what is your favorite cult movie? These are the words with which you used to reply. Dan Schaefer bravely wrote, quote, Manos, The Hands of Fate.
Oh, Lord.
We watch it every year at MS Teaster. I don't know, or Teaster?
Maybe that's like MST Easter?
Oh, maybe. Okay. For a non-MST movie, I'd have to go with Tapeheads or Repo Man, end quote. Wow, I do hope you're watching the MST version of Manos.
Seriously.
Can you find a copy without them? Anyway, thanks, Dan. Knock it off, Torgo.
The master is not pleased.
The master would want me to continue. The Weasel gives us, quote, SLC Punk. It's really good. Was a Sundance Film Festival release in like 1999, end quote. I don't know. Do you?
No. Doesn't ring a bell.
Now I have something to
look into
up.
it.
Yeah. Thanks, Weasel. First-time responder David Meiselman simply stated, Spinal Tap. A good choice indeed. Thanks, Dave. Dr. Rebecca Pelkey was next with one of my favorites, spoiler, quote, Empire Records, obviously.
Sure.
Heathers, though it hasn't aged well at all.
And
one that only recently achieved cult status, Jennifer's Body, end quote. That's another one I don't know, and we will look up. Thanks.
Yeah, I know that one.
Oh, do you? Thanks, Becca. Jess Miller posted, quote, Empire Records and Rocky Horror Picture Show, end quote.
What a double feature that would be.
Thanks, Sweetie Honey Pumpkin. I mean, random listener. Aaron Perez was next with, quote, Big Night, end quote. Nick Hoffman seconded that choice. Another movie I've not heard of, but that is part of being a cult film, isn't it?
Never seen it, but it's supposed to be really good.
Well, thank you, Aaron. AJ Sheems tossed out Reservoir Dogs. That movie did influence a lot of others, indeed. Thank you, AJ. Steve Kellner, inventor of the Kellner, said, quote, Repo Man, though I have to mention Rocky Horror too. Oh, I thought of another one, Phantom of the Paradise, end quote.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Paul Williams for the win. Thanks, Steve. Sometimes you get your movie in size 12 dwarf. Ooh, is that a Smokey and the Bandit reference? I think it is. Dave Mackman, Dave, gives us this article. Quote, if you measure by number of times seen, by current relevance, in that Tim Curry is still on regular rotation in my stereo, and by the clearly identifiable culture associated with the cult, it has to be Rocky Horror. On the Japanese side, Seijin Suzuki and Ishii Teruo, I am told, have cult followings, and I like Tokyo Drifter and Yellow Lines from those directors. But their movies are hit and miss. Baby Cart in Peril should be a cult film, but not sure it is. I like it in part because it was and is banned. That said, Ishii Teruo made Lone Wolf and Cub White Heaven in Hell, which is probably the only other cult-worthy Baby Cart movie. Say that 3 times fast. There are various fetishy cult Japanese films that I watch from time to time, but too often find them disgusting. HBO seems to have Hanzo the Razor, for example, but I can't identify any cult for that series. And I love Repo Man, but only saw it twice, and the soundtrack is only occasionally on rotation. Harold and Maude, Diner, The Harder They Come might all top my list, but not sure any of them qualifies. End quote. Well, as always, we love those long answers. Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Ed Shields cryptically wrote, quote, 3 guesses, end quote. What he meant, of course, was Streets of Fire. Someday I will watch that, Ed. Thanks. Someday. Adam Mark offered, quote, the problem with this label is that basically any and all non-Marvel, non-Disney princess films that make any kind of money or have any duration in the public imagination are deemed cult. I feel the term is truly overused. I think for a film to be a cult classic, its fandom needs to be enduring and small. That being said, Boondock Saints, 1999, fits the bill. It has deplorable ethics, and its narration wobbles erratically, but damn if it doesn't appeal, linger in your mind, and necessitate repeat viewings, end quote. The term cult probably has become somewhat stretched the same way indie has in music, but thanks, Adam. Do you agree with that, Max?
I think he's got a point. I think it's a little broad. I don't think it's like just any movie that isn't a huge budget franchise movie is automatically a cult movie. But I do think the term is overused.
I think sometimes it's actually used as in, oh, what do you know? That movie made money.
Yeah.
That must be a cult film.
Oh, people liked it?
Yeah. Oh, Tony Kellner voted for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Thank you, Tony. Val Coons, Queen of Radio, Empress of Q Footsteps, gave us, quote, considering that I'm part of the cast of the Masquerade Ball inspired by a cult favorite, I'm going with Labyrinth. Also, Strictly Ballroom. I have to wonder how many dance studios opened after that one. I hope lots, end quote. Don't know if we can include Labyrinth or not.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts. That was a very popular movie, mainstream.
I don't think it did very well, but it was, I think it was, what was Disney's sort of side... Hollywood Pictures? Was it a Hollywood Picture?
I can't remember.
Other one? Where the one sort of like it's like it's Disney, but we're not telling you it's Disney. It has that word in it. But anyway, thanks, Val. Oh, and cue Footsteps. Nick Hoffman is back with, quote, I'm going to have to go with Dark Star. Phenomenology. It's either that or Hardware Wars, end quote. I don't know if the second one was a film or a comment, but
that's a short, really. I mean,
no, Phenomenology.
Oh, that's a line or an element from Dark Star.
Oh.
You have to teach the bomb phenomenology.
I'm a 30-second bomb. I'm a 30-second bomb.
Totally different, but okay.
Is it?
Yeah, that's from the actual novel Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay.
Or nope, sorry, Forever War.
Okay. Richard Tatum pared down his choices to, I probably have a list of favorites, but Zardoz is the first to come to mind, end quote. Well, thanks, Richard. Sean Connery in his underwear. Who doesn't like that? Maybe Max.
And not so much.
Charles Forsyth is next with, quote, technically, Office Space and Idiocracy are cult movies. They bombed at the box office and developed a huge following and fame later on. But I'll toss in And God Spoke. It came out in 1993 and has a big following among indie filmmakers because it really captures the insanity of making a terrible, low-budget movie. The plot is that 2 inept filmmakers get $10 million to make a Bible movie and completely botch it. I forgot another movie I saw at the 1993 USA Film Festival, Freaked, end quote. Thanks, Charles. That sounds like a film that's speaking right to me. Have you seen that film, And God Spoke?
No, I've heard the title. I know nothing about it.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that now because it's like... I would love to see that. That'd be awesome. Keith Wright wrote. Keith wrote right. Keith is right, and he wrote.
Yeah.
Quote, Time Bandits, hand down, XOXO, end quote. I wonder what a Zozo is. Thanks, Keith.
Zozo's Pedals.
Oh, right. Yeah, there was a band by that name. From way up north, Vince, our snowy friend, posted this to our website.
Good day.
Good day. Quote, some people, maybe Mike, might think that all the movies I watch are cult movies. I do have a taste for what Danny Peary called the classics, the sleepers, the weird, and the wonderful in his 3-book cult movie series of books. One film that I just never get tired of is Faster, Pussycat, Kill, Kill.
Oh, Lord.
It's one of the few Russ Meyer films I think is worth multiple viewings. Big sexual killer go-go girls who dance at the drop of the hat and talk only in double entendres. And it's one of his only films without any real nudity, and the lead villain, Varla, is one for the ages. What's the point? The point is of no return, and you've reached it, end quote. I have seen that once with Vince.
Saw that a long time ago.
Thanks, Snowy. The monster made me feel funny. And lastly, from our mailbag, Dr. Lauren scribed, quote, finally, a poll question I, the movie ignoramus, can answer. The Rocky Horror Picture Show was, for a long time, my favorite cult film. Then came This Is Spinal Tap. Now, I am a Firefly addict. Serenity is the movie. While I was first dating my husband, his son was in the Firefly cult. My future husband showed me the series in logical order, not the order they were shown, ending with Serenity. I was so enamored of it that I went out and bought myself the DVDs. According to my husband, this cemented my position as potential stepmother. It also led to my subsequent enthusiasm for watching anything in which Nathan Fillion was featured. Even in, I'm going to get this name wrong, even if Mariska Hargitay.
She means Mariska Hargitay.
Thank you. Co-stars. As Mike commented about Halle Berry, I am of the wrong persuasion to appreciate her appeal. On the other hand, I appreciate all aspects of Halle Berry. Go figure. End quote. Wow. Well, thank you, Dr. Lauren.
Yes, indeed. And remember, she is a doctor.
It says so right on the label. What about you, Max? What cults do you belong to?
Well, first of all, we object to the term cult. We are a spiritual lifestyle coaching method.
We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune.
We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Well, I got to say, number one, I'm just with the crowd, is Rocky Horror. Yeah. Just in terms of the number of times I've seen it, the impression it's made on me, that's a biggie. Other than that, I do have to say I have a real soft spot for tape heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? What cult has captured your soul and made you give it power of attorney?
Well, I gave it $5, but that's... Yeah. Rocky is an easy choice. But here's the thing. Rocky kind of almost defines the whole idea of a cult film because talk about bombs.
Oh, boy.
It didn't even come close. And yet, in 2 years, that film will have been playing in theaters for 50 years.
My Lord.
So, yeah, and I have no idea how much money it's made over the years, and quite honestly, how much it's done for a lot of very confused young people, me being one of them. Hey, when Rocky comes and sits in your lap, you realize you've had thoughts about things you didn't realize you'd have thoughts about, just saying. Tapeheads, and one of the reasons I'm a big fan of Tapeheads is I got to see the actual premiere, which took place in a very small Boston theater, or at least a local premiere, and the director was there. And the reason I saw that is because the week before, I had been to the same theater to see a film called Lair of the White Worm, which is a really weird horror
Me
film.
name's Kevin, but me mates call me Kev.
Yeah, and it's got Hugh Grant in it, which I keep forgetting, and it's just like, I don't even think, all through the film, Hugh looks like, right, why am I here again?
I think Hugh would be very glad to know that you keep forgetting he's in it.
And Empire Records. I'm not sure if it's a cult film, except Russ Manning Day. And it's such a great film, and I'd never even heard of it until my partner said, oh, you have to see this film, Empire Records. Like, what are you talking about? So, yeah. As always, your answers are just plain awesome. We're addicted. Add to our fix by answering this, won't you? What's your favorite high school movie? Realistic, or more likely, totally bogus? Which teen high school flick has carved its initials into your heart? Let us know in the usual ways, which we'll go over at the end of the show. But for now, it's trivia time.
The facts.
Mean Girls. Budget, $17 million. Max, take a guess.
Let's see. 150 million.
You're very close, 130. And that's dollars, not that crypto crap. Except Bumpy Bucks, which is still worth every penny it was when it started.
Absolutely. And has no connection with SVB Bank.
Nope. Casting. It's a thing. Originally, Lindsay Lohan, who plays Katie, was hired to play ultra mean girl Regina. Fearing that people would think that her real personality was that of her characters, she went for nice girl, sorta, Katie instead. This was Tina Fey's first produced screenplay. Go Tina!
Yay, Tina.
I like Tina. She's cool.
Tina Fey is awesome.
Yeah. Amy Poehler, who plays Regina's mom, is only 7 years older than the actor playing Regina.
Oops.
Wow, we'll just leave that right there.
Yeah.
Dog baiting. To get the stunt hound to chew on her bosoms, Amy Poehler stuffed a hot dog down her bra. Well, there you go.
That'll work.
This movie was based on a book. Sort of. Queen Bees and Wannabes, Helping Your Daughter Survive Cliques, Gossip, Boyfriends, and Other Realities of Adolescence was a self-help book for parents. Apparently, Faye didn't realize the book had no actual story in it before signing on with Paramount. Oops. Up till this movie, Lindsay Lohan had only made movies for Disney. Well, perhaps she'll make another movie someday. This movie begat a musical. In 2017, Tina Fey and her husband, Jeff Richmond, premiered their musical version of Mean Girls in D.C. It later moved on to Broadway. What hasn't been made into a musical at this show is at some point going to be a musical.
I could, by an odd coincidence, when I was out driving the other day, I saw signs that the local high school is doing the musical of Mean Girls.
There you go. But if you missed it, don't worry. They're working on a film adaptation of the stage musical adaptation of the movie adaptation of the book.
Oh, good Lord. I think it's just metatexted itself into another dimension.
Did you hear a pop?
I think so.
In the blink and you'll miss it department, the whole idea of Janice being a lesbian likely comes from Regina mistaking her background of being Lebanese. It's a joke. Get it? Yeah.
Well, that was the thing that Ellen DeGeneres used as a joke, saying people got it wrong. What I meant was my character was Lebanese.
Yeah, which doesn't sound like lesbian, but okay.
No.
Librarian I might get. There have been many people asking for a sequel, but so far Tina Fey has said no.
Good for her.
Recently she said she didn't know why she said no when first asked in 2014, and if it was to be done, it should have been done then. Others, including the film's resident gay guy, Daniel Franzese, have said he'd give it a try, wanting to do anything with the entire cast. He's writing a script he plans to pitch to Fey, but no one will do it without her blessing, which is nice.
Yeah.
And other things, I'm sure, but now, unless Max has something to add?
Just, did you catch Janice's full name?
I didn't, and there was something in trivia about it, because she's named after a singer, I think.
Her name's Janice Ian, who is a legendary singer.
That's right.
You know, at 17 and Society's Child. A lot of songs about the difficulty of being a teenager and racial acceptance.
And didn't I see that Janice Ian herself is a lesbian?
Yes, she is.
So there you go. I'm sorry, Lebanese.
Yes, she's also Lebanese.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should get to the plot.
Yes.
Katie Heron is new to town and new to the country, and new to the idea of school as a thing as well. See, she's been homeschooled by her scientist parents, having grown up in Africa without a trace of accent, until her mom got a new job in Evanston, Canada. Illinois. So the family loaded up the truck and moved to Evanston Hills, that is. On her
Maple syrup.
On her first day of school, she's instantly confused, the outcast, and can't understand why everyone's just acting so weird. A couple of the school's lesser-knowns, Janice and Damien, offer to take her under their wings, helping her avoid the worst of high school, especially the notorious clique, the Plastics.
Dun, dun, dun.
Weird coincidence, the very next day, that very same clique, headed by the infamous Regina, takes a liking to her and invites her to sit with them for the entire week. Janice thinks this is great, as Katie can now get inside information on the Plastics and help her and Damien take them down. All seems to be going well until Katie gets interested in a boy, Aaron.
That always a problem.
Who used to go with Regina. But he's so cute! There are strict guidelines if one wants to be a Plastic, and one of them is to not be interested in anyone Regina says you can't be. But she relents. Sort of. The plastics are really Regina's playthings, and as long as she's on top, she doesn't care what she does to whom. And while Katie was supposed to be a spy, it seems being a plastic has grown on her, and one can't tell where the act begins and the real Katie ends. Things start to spiral out of control, with young Katie losing her sense of self while rising in plastic society and, so she thinks, popularity. But it all comes to a bus-crashing halt one day, and Katie is left alone to either face up to her behavior or keep everything swept under the rug. High school. Will we ever get over it?
No.
The end.
The film.
So, Max.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Now, you hadn't seen this either, had you?
Nope, never seen it.
But
I had heard about it. I knew about it.
I was going to say, being a Tina Fey fan, I'm sure you knew of it.
Absolutely, and I'd heard some of the quotes. Some of them didn't make a lot of sense to me because they were completely out of context.
Do they make sense now?
Yeah, actually they do.
I had never heard of it. I mean, maybe in the very edges of my radar. I didn't know Tina Fey had anything to do with it until the film started, and it's like, oh, she wrote it?
No, I didn't know
awesome.
that. I follow most things Tina Fey, because Tina Fey, if she weren't like so damn happily married, I would be standing in her garbage outside every night.
Scarlett might have something to say about that, just saying.
We'll have a throuple.
I'm sure you will. Extra helping for Max.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Oh, thank you, Adam. So let's, we like to start with the acting, and until you tell me to stop doing that, we'll start with the acting.
Stop doing that!
Oh.
Did it work?
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Lindsay Lohan film to the best of my knowledge.
I've seen a couple. She did, as you said at the beginning, a lot of what she did were Disney remakes. She did a remake of The Parent Trap. She did a remake with Freaky Friday. The main thing I remember, which is Jamie Lee Curtis knocks it out of the park.
Does she?
Pretending to be a teenager in the body of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Excuse me. Oscar-winning actress.
Yay! Jamie Lee Curtis. Yay, Jamie Lee.
Not that we're biased, but we are.
And also Herbie the Love Bug and a bunch of other. Oh, yeah.
They remade Herbie the Love Bug?
You didn't know, did you?
No.
Nobody did. It was here and gone.
That's true, just as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have seen her. She is actually surprisingly talented, and it unfortunately gets overshadowed by her real-life shenanigans.
Oh, dear. She problematic?
Yeah, a little. Not like, screaming racist or anything, but
like Britney Spears problematic? Or?
Yeah, kind of like a lot of I think, child star syndrome.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, she's trying to make a comeback now. Best of luck to her. But she's, I think, very talented. I think she does a good job. I think there's a lot of talent in this movie. By the way, and again, nice one, Tina, for hiring all your friends.
Hey, you know what? Good for her.
There are so many Saturday Night Live alumni in this.
Well, Lorne Michaels is the producer. It's not like it was hard.
Yeah. I mean, Tim Meadows is Mr. Duvall. Anna Gasteyer is Katie's mother. Tina Fey herself is in it. Amy Poehler is just hilarious as Regina's one of the better lines. I'm not like other moms. I'm a cool mom.
Yeah. And boy, and I'm not that familiar with Amy Poehler. I know her a little bit because she was in something we saw, and I can't remember what it was not that long ago. And it's like, she's really funny. And in this, she is really funny. And she's obviously just going for it. So good for her.
And she nails that type of person. I mean, again, it's a caricature, but there is the kind of, I want to be the cool mom, and I can't accept that I'm getting older.
Yeah, at all. And of course, the sad thing is she's only 7 years older, so she kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're in the same decade as your daughter, that's
that's kind of genetically impossible.
Yeah, thankfully. I thought that Lindsay Lohan was surprisingly charming. We like her even when she turns mean. I don't know if it's an outstanding performance, but she's solid and charismatic.
It's decent.
Yeah.
I think Rachel McAdams as Regina
she does a great job.
She's really good at being both absolutely loathsome and yet still kind of human.
Yeah.
She gets right up to the edge of being a cartoon.
Yeah.
And doesn't cross it, I think.
No, I think that and spoil, if you haven't seen the film, it came out almost 20 years ago, so that, boo on you. When she has her turnaround, we actually do find ourselves rooting for her because she actually does have a kind of redemptive arc.
It's kind of thrown in at the end.
It is. There's a lot of that. But I actually like her as the teen jock. It's like, you know what? Good for you.
I like that, channeling all her anger into field hockey and like beating the crap out of her. And I like that throwaway line. It worked out well because none of the jock girls were afraid of her.
Yeah. So,
which is a big thing, is everyone's afraid of her. The one thing the person I think is just criminally underused in this is Amanda Seyfried. She plays Karen.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot to do.
That's the thing, is they don't give her much to do. She is really funny when she wants to be. The bits she does, and again, it's one of the
predicting the weather.
Well, I just love her. That's one of the quotable lines. Yeah, I'm really psychic. I think I have ESPN or something. My breasts can predict when it's going to rain. Pause. Well, they can tell when it's raining.
Which I'm glad she doesn't explain how they tell her. Because as it turns out, she's actually not that good at that either.
Nope.
Yeah, she does not have much. She's fun where we see her, but there's not a lot for her to do. Lacey Chabert? I don't know.
I think it's Chabert, yeah.
She's very believable as Gretchen, and Gretchen is basically the fulcrum because while she's not in charge, everybody is teetering and back and forth around what she does by telling people this. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Of course, we all know that she totally meant to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
But she 2 times like nobody else.
Mm-hmm. And Lizzie Kaplan as Janice Ian, I think she's fine.
She's feels very Breakfast Club.
Yeah, she's a little one note, and she is kind of the generic angry girl.
Yeah.
Sure. The guy that surprises me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say her part's very 2-dimensional. Like, she's angry with Regina, and for a long time we don't know why. And when it finally comes out, it's honestly not all that interesting.
Not terribly.
It's like, oh, you used to be friends, and now you're not.
Yeah, because she told everyone you were gay.
Yeah.
Like, okay. First off, in high school, in our era, that happened like every other week.
Yeah.
It's just in our high school, people would just go. Huh, so?
Well, our high school, as
we went to art camp.
Out, does not count. You and I didn't go to high school as people mostly know it. So
yeah, but I liked Daniel Franzese as Damien, if only because I know he is an absolute gay man stereotype, except for the way he looks, because the man looks like a linebacker.
Yes, but the way he moves. Here's the interesting part. It will be a few years before Daniel comes out, and my feeling was, really? Because it's like when, half of Wham, what's his name? George Michael.
George Michael
comes out and says, I may not be totally straight. And the entire world went, really? Okay, sure.
Yeah. Gasp.
And the fact that this the way he is a very large person. And
he's also... He's not fat. He's big.
Yes.
If he was it's surprising. If he was a jock, he would definitely be on the football team.
But there are people who, when they act gay, you're like, oh, I see, Mr. De Niro, you don't actually know any gay people, which is weird because his father was gay, but whatever. Yeah. And then there's people, it's like, oh, you either have gay friends or are gay yourself. And Daniel just struck me as like, yeah, he's gay.
Okay.
But... I just also, the only problem I had with Daniel is like, how many times were you kept back? Because
he looks pretty old to be a high school, junior or whatever he's supposed to be.
I think he's 24 or 25 when they made his films. But
so is the pretty boy, though, Aaron, who looks a little bit, he still looks a little too old, but he's a little less absurd as a teen.
This film is a lot better when it comes to... They're not in high school than most high school films. And it's like some of them, like especially the girls, you're like, yeah, I believe they're in high school. Yeah. Aaron, he's handsome in a rather nondescript kind of way. I did start to wonder, wait, the way his hair coming is he Zac Efron or not? I can't tell. But Max, have you ever been to Zac Efron?
I have not been to Zac Efron.
Oh, I think it's a place.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it turned out to be somebody I'd never heard of. And it's like, you're... if there's nobody more handsome around, you're handsome. But he doesn't do much, so...
I think Tim Meadows is hilarious.
I love the fact that he actually broke his wrist, which is why he's wearing that thing. That's he's like...
They're working into the story.
I have carpal tunnel. That's why I'm wearing this cast.
I remember I look at that because, I thought I had it at one time, and I'm going... you don't wrap your hand up like that if you have carpal tunnel. You wear like a wrist brace.
No, he doesn't have a huge part, but what he has, he does very well with it, being the principal.
He has, again, one of the very quotable lines. I will keep, he's addressing the entire junior class, I will keep you here all night if I have to.
They can't stay till past 4.
I will keep you here until 4 o'clock if I have to.
Yeah. We are leaving out one big player here, and that's Tina herself.
Oh, she's terrific.
She is terrific. She is the teacher that maybe at the time you think is kind of dorky and annoying, but you realize the year after you graduate that she was my favorite teacher.
Yeah, and she was the coolest and the one who got it.
Yeah.
The one who was aware.
And Tina has this in general, this very calm and yet still energetic performance. I don't know how she mixes those two things, but even when she's got covered with coffee and she's taking off her sweater and she's like, my t-shirt pulled up, didn't it? And now she's just wearing a bra in front of her class. There's no sense that Tina's going to lose it. And it fits the character. This isn't bad acting. This is like, no, this is just somebody who's like, no, I got this.
Like, yeah, of course this is happening. Of course, everything bad is happening. I also like the fact Tina Fey is really attractive. She's really pretty, but they make nothing of it. No. And they downplay it, and she doesn't draw attention to it. And it works.
Well, and even better, we shouldn't be looking at her and just, drooling anyway. We should be like listening to her and listening to what she has to say. And in this case, watching her movie because she wrote the dang thing.
Yeah.
And then a musical and then, yeah. And then I hear she did some other things, but,
one or two other. Yeah.
So I'd say that, and there's one last person. There's a couple. The parents are fine. There's not much there.
They don't do much. The bits that they're in, though, you do get their character. You understand them really quickly.
They are utterly clueless. And my favorite part is when the father grounds Katie, and then the mother comes home, and it's like, where's Katie? Oh, she's out. What do you mean? She's out. Isn't she grounded? Does that mean she can't leave?
Well, I also like when, at the end, when everyone's mad at her, and she says to her daddy, Mom hates me, doesn't she? She says, no, honey, Mom doesn't hate you. She's scared of you.
I don't know if that's true or not, but okay.
Well, she is, because she's scared because she doesn't understand what's happening to her daughter.
Yeah.
They don't do much with it, but I think they do a nice idea. They give you an idea of who they are.
Yeah, a little bit of an idea. The film's not about their relationship. No. And to be fair, the film's not exactly what you'd call realistic.
No.
So bringing in extra drama, I think, would have been a bad idea, which is probably why Tina didn't do it.
It is one of... Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
The last name I was going to bring up is Rajiv Surendra as Kevin. He's very two-dimensional, but whenever he's on screen, you're watching him. He's
a lot of charisma, that guy.
He does. He is like trying so hard. And like when they win the math challenge and he rips his shirt off and he starts DJing and
he starts
rapping.
Fronting. He starts acting like he's down with the street.
Yeah, good for him. You know what? And then he hits on Janice at the end of the film, and they end up dancing together. Why not?
Yeah, and they end up together.
And I think that she basically decides, you know what, this guy is trying so hard, let's give him a goddamn chance. And she does. So, and he's a very minor, fairly two-dimensional character. I still found him at least somewhat enjoyable. So yeah, solid acting.
Very solid.
No bad acting here. Some characters had more to do than others.
Yeah.
Let's face it, there's not a lot of depth here.
No, this isn't Citizen Kane. This is a teen goof movie.
And I was saying, when the first credit popped up, I was like, oh, it's a Lorne Michaels film.
Yeah, that's often a very bad sign, believe me, because I've seen a lot of his movies.
They usually have something to do directly with Saturday Night Live, and that's usually a problem.
Yes.
But as it turns out, in this case, maybe he just threw money at it and stepped out of the way, and that worked out. Very happy to see Tina Fey's name pop up. I was a little cringy when literally she walks out of the car the first day at school and somebody bumps into her and gives her the look, and it's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Are we going to do that already? Okay.
It's like, that is such a high school movie cliche.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that in this film. Let's be fair. It's 2004.
Oh, yeah.
We've had decades of high school films. And initially, my note was, it's a typical high school movie crap with occasional laughs. Because when it first starts out, all we're seeing is the cliches, and there were a lot of them. The whole idea, oh, it's the clique of the pretty girls who are all rich, and they decide the tenor for the entire student body.
But there's also the point that some cliches are cliches because they are true.
Yes.
One of the moments I really like is when Janice gives Katie this map of the lunchroom, which first off was really well drawn.
Yes.
I thought. And it's all like, okay, here's who sits at this table, at this table. That happens. That is very real.
I've heard that.
Yeah. No,
I know. None of us know. You don't know that. I know
it from my junior high.
Yeah. Okay.
And which was much more cliquey and a lot more standard.
Yeah.
And there was a real hierarchy.
Yeah.
There were the really popular kids, and you didn't get to sit with them unless you were one of them. And there were the art people, and then there were the nerds. No idea where they sat. And
well hidden, Max.
yeah, thank you.
I mean, Laverne.
Yeah. Thank you, Shoyle.
Patty.
Yes, thank you, Patty. And too bad Maxine couldn't make it.
Well, someday.
So I think that's a really nice touch. And I like the fact they make it a little cartoony with how extreme the characters are. But I think that works for this because this whole movie has some very Warner Brothers moments in it. I mean, when they're all doing the hot girl, mean girl strut down the hallway, and Katie falls in a wastebasket.
That was very surprising, especially
right out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was so Wile E. Coyote. It was,
Yep.
But my favorite actually cartoon moments are when she starts equating things with her life in Africa, and suddenly the
Yes.
students become animals, and you hear chimp noises and stuff, and lion growls, and
When they're in the mall and she says, God, looking at this mall reminds me of the water hole in Africa around mating season.
Yeah.
And all the students begin like grooming each other
Yeah.
or doing, what is it called when the male puts on a big display?
I'm not sure, but I'm glad you were going to
dominance
say
dis-
presenting. Oh,
Yeah,
I said it. Don't look it up again. It's
And
disgusting.
I thought that was, and they did that. They don't overuse it. I think it
No.
happens like 2 or 3 times,
Just
and
twice.
it's really funny.
I thought so. Well, as I said, my initial note was typical high school movie crap with occasional laughs. But then later on, I'm relenting a little. This is after the first Animal Kingdom season. I said, not really much substance or anything new. Still charming. And it does have a kind of charm.
It does. And you do have the outsider, but you also have, I mean, there's kind of a Nietzschean aspect to it.
In what way?
Well, Katie, the whole thing is she wants to become part of the plastics to spy on them. That's Janice's idea.
Right.
And then talk trash about them later, find their secrets.
Right.
But the more she's with them, the more she becomes part of it. And I keep thinking of when you stare into the abyss stares into you.
The abyss that is Regina.
Yeah. On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Yeah. Oh, you wore a ponytail today. Too bad. You only get to do that once a week.
The rules are, even Regina says, those rules aren't real at one point.
And of course, not for her.
No, they don't apply to her, but the rules are so arbitrary and so strange.
Yeah.
And very much, as you said, the idea is Regina is, it's not she likes popularity or what have it. She likes the power.
Right.
I always get the feeling Regina is going to end up being head of Enron or something.
Or Elon.
she has this immense drive, and she's really cunning. She's very smart and unfortunately, she uses it for cruelty. Because everything she does is in some ways diabolically brilliant.
What I would really love if somehow she grew up to be Rebecca from Ted Lasso.
Oh, yes.
Rebecca starts off being that person, and then Rebecca ends up being really cool. And the actor who plays her, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
I can't either.
Has an amazing singing voice on top of all of it.
Voice.
But I love that she, even when she becomes a much nicer person, she doesn't lose any of the power. And
she still has the edge. She still does not take crap from anybody.
So I kind of hope that Regina ends up like that. All the power, but still a decent person, which of course those two things don't go together.
It doesn't really work most of the time.
The one thing I will say, though, is that our heroes, who are ostensibly the leftovers, what do we call their clique?
The outsiders.
Sure. We got the one gay guy, the one people think is gay, and then we have Katie, who is just new. And
new and fish out of water.
In a way, they're kind of trying to become the thing they hate because they're trying to get all the information so they can put down other people and thus raise themselves, which is not surprising and it's not unrealistic, but is troubling as a hero type character.
Yeah. But I mean, Tina Fey calls that out. I really like that toward the end when she's, doing this thing that you think is going to be so cringy. It's like we're gonna do these exercises. It's after the third act crisis has happened, and everyone is furious at Katie, and everyone's mad at everyone else.
Well, they found the bumpy book.
They find the bumpy book or the burn book where these girls have put pictures of girls and written absolutely horrible things about them, which, by the way, I absolutely believe is a real thing.
Probably.
I have no trouble believing that happens.
The trouble I had with it was when Regina pretends it's not her and she brings it to the principal and boo-hoos about the fact that she's in it and blah, blah, blah. And then they call in the people of the other plastics who Regina has said must be them because they're not in the book. Then she starts distributing pages all over school and nobody notices this happens. It's like, and how did you get a hold of those pages long enough ahead of time to literally litter the entire school?
The investigative powers of the teachers here is Tim Meadows and even Tina Fey are not that impressive.
Yeah. But you're right, that scene where, sorry to interrupt, you were talking about the cringy, well, let's talk about the things we've done and hurt other people out loud and get forgiveness. She get this little, and it's not even a big speech. It's this little throwaway because obviously the big speech has to be for Lindsay Lohan's character because that's how it is in these movies. But when she says, calling someone else stupid doesn't make you smarter. Calling someone else ugly doesn't make you prettier. It's like, oh my God, that's really good. Yeah, I wish that they hadn't actually hired actors specifically to make fun of them being ugly, because they do that at the end of the film at the mathletes competition. Whatever.
Mathletes,
Animal Olympics. And it's obvious.
Laugh Olympics.
We need ugly kids. Hire ugly
We need
kids.
nerdy looking kids.
No, I mean ugly. And they call them that. And it's not just nerdy because everyone there is supposed to be nerdy. And that's what I like about Kevin. Kevin's not a bad looking kid, but he is nerdy.
Oh, very nerdy.
He just
but the thing I like is he is nerdy and utterly unashamed.
Yeah.
He is nerdy and proud.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Good for him. Maybe that's another reason I liked him.
Yeah.
There was one thing that they do in this film, and it is something that makes me cringe whenever it happens, and it is far too prevalent. I hate it when women have to play dumb to make their boyfriends feel superior or interested in them. And there's a point because Lindsay Lohan's character, Katie, is really good at math. And to get big dumb Aaron to talk to her, the only way she thinks it'll work, and sadly seems to be true, is if she makes it out as if she needs him because she doesn't get math.
But you understand this isn't something movies make up.
No,
that's
I know.
Absolutely real.
It's just sad.
Yes, it is a really awful thing to say, but it's true. Women have been taught they should not appear smarter than men, and a lot of men get threatened by women who are smarter than they are.
Which is too bad because Aaron could then learn, hey, there's somebody here who likes me and is willing to get me better at math, which he needs because he's not that great at it. But whatever. I just hate seeing that. There's actually an episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show, of all things, where Sally has to pretend to be stupid to get a date. And it's just awful. And it's just like, that's so... Anyway, it's just one of my things I hate seeing.
It's annoying, but it fits in this movie. It works because it is real, but it is painful to watch. The moment I found really painful, there are a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't like movies like this. They make me very uncomfortable.
How?
Because they're real. They're absolutely believable, and it's so painful to watch the things that, never mind the things people do to each other, the things teenagers do to each other.
Yeah.
Is terrifying. But there's just this moment I found really kind of tragic, and it's an utter throwaway, and I don't even know the character. I don't remember the character's name, but it's Regina's little sister. When they go over to Regina's house, there is this little girl, like, I don't know, 8 or 9, and she is dancing in front of the TV set to Kaylee's My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard. And she is bumping and grinding, and she is dancing like a stripper.
Yeah.
And the mother and Regina are just like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Well, later
It's like-
she's watching an ad for Girls Gone Wild, and she's
Yes.
lifting up her, and she's got to be
Yeah.
like 8, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. And it's horrifying because
Yeah.
you look, oh my God, here's the next generation that's being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
And it's actually really well done because it's a background thing.
Right.
They don't shove it in your face, but it's, yeah.
Yeah. I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Did you see the bus accident coming?
Nope. That was quite literally, as it was on screen, out of nowhere.
I really appreciated that because
Yeah.
I was so not expecting anything. And then there is this horribly violent accident, which, because of the way they film it, is funny. And let's face it, this film, there's a lot of things in it that are like, yeah, that would never happen. Yeah, that would never happen. And there was a remake of a film called Meet Joe Black, or
Oh, yeah.
it was a remake of Death Takes a Holiday.
Yeah.
And they didn't mean it to be funny, but they needed the character to die early in the film, played by Brad Pitt. And he gets hit by a car going at high speed. And it's like watching a balloon that has developed a very quick leak. And he's like all over the
Yeah.
place. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be horrifying. And it kind of is. It's also
it's-
kind of funny.
Yeah, this was so sudden and
Yeah.
so fast. And the next line is really dark because you hear every so often we get a voiceover from Katie, and she's like, "And that's how Regina George died." No, I'm kidding. She was
Yeah.
hurt, but it's like, holy crap, really?
Did you believe it? Because at that point, I was willing to.
I didn't think so because, like I say, I had heard about this movie, and I was pretty sure that didn't happen. I didn't think anyone died in it. This is not Heather's.
Yeah, and then of course the second time they bring it around, we're ready for it, and it's like
Yeah.
it's playing off itself. And I didn't think it was something that was like overused, because I could easily
No.
people say, "Oh, we already did the bus thing," except no, they're actually
it's a
commenting on-
callback.
Yeah, and I thought that worked fairly well.
Yeah.
I will admit, this is probably a film that I had the least number of notes that I've written. And one of the reasons for that, and this is going to come up in the ending, is I'm going to take a guess. Max, I'm going to ask for your help on this.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm the target audience.
I'm pretty sure you're not.
So middle-aged white guy, probably not.
Probably no. I'm almost sure no. No, this is a teen movie. You only have to look at the way adults are treated in this, except for Tina Fey, who, while she is smart, she's also kind of, what a teenager would consider a loser.
Right.
But the adults in this movie are clueless, which is a standard trope in teen movies.
Sure.
Is that the adults are either stupid, cruel, or just utterly out of touch. And this movie has all of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we'd have any really cruel adults.
Yeah, there's one or two of the teachers. They're just throwaways who
Right.
yell at Katie for no reason. But no, they aren't cruel, but they don't know what's going on.
So how do you think that, because pardon me for saying this, Max, but I don't think you're the target audience either.
I'm almost certainly not.
How do you think that affected your viewing the movie?
I think it did. It had a real effect in that, first off, it's looking at another world, and it's first off, and then I'm also looking like, I don't remember everyone being quite that good looking in high school.
You can look through the yearbook and find out for yourself.
Yeah,
Nope,
no offense.
Nope.
A lot of good looking people in our high school, but come on.
I mean, I'd say there was a handful, like there is in every high school, right?
Yeah. It's also just a feeling like I shouldn't be rewatching this, Here they are, especially, they're sexualizing these teenagers, that's fine for other teenage boys. A middle-aged man should not be watching Lindsay Lohan in skin-tight clothing.
Well, see, for me, it didn't really do anything. So
I know.
There was
I'm
nothing
sure.
for me in this film. Even Aaron was like, okay, I mean, you're handsome-ish. You're not bad looking. Okay, next.
And the thing with Amanda Seyfried has just kept getting better looking. It's remarkable.
Have I seen her in anything besides this?
You probably have. Did you ever see Mamma Mia?
No, funny.
Okay.
You'd think I would have, but no, I haven't.
No, she's in that. She's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You probably have seen her and don't remember.
Yeah, it's possible. So, yeah, this may have colored our commentary a little bit, but
Yeah, this movie is not for us. It's not made for us. We can still appreciate aspects of it, but it's not for us.
that being said, that's not what
Yeah.
brought us here. What brought
No.
us here is the fact that we're doing a series on quotable films.
Yes.
So I decided, because this is a film that when I started looking for quotable films, because there are tons, and some of them we've done and we can't do again.
Yeah.
Or at least films that we quote all the time, even if the rest of the known world doesn't. And strangely, this film popped up in a bunch of lists. And I'm like, really? Mean Girls? I've never even heard of this, but okay, let's take a look. So what I did was I went and looked, I wanted to find a site that would not only have top quotes, but that they would rank them, because I wanted to see what their top 5 quotes were. And I wrote those down. I also, and I think, Max, you did the same thing, wrote quotes while the movie was happening that I like, oh, I like this quote. So let's see if any of your quotes, how many quotes did you write down?
Oh, about a dozen or so.
Oh, you have a lot more than I did. I only wrote 5. These are the top 5 in order. So number 1, I'll actually read them in backwards. I'll start with number 5. Number 5. She made out with a hot dog.
That was not one of mine. I didn't think that was that funny.
Me either. Number 4, I'm a cool mom.
I have that one.
Number 3, you could try Sears.
I don't have that. That was a pretty good one, though.
Number 2, it's October 3rd.
Nope, I didn't even notice that one.
They say it in the film, and apparently now October 3rd is Mean Girls Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. She asks him what day it is, or he asks her what day it is, and she's, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
It's like how, I can't remember how they figured this out, but they decided, I think it's April 10th is Rex Manning Day.
Yeah,
oh, it's coming up.
Yes,
Save up for Rex Manning Eve. And number 1, according to an article from MTV, the top quote of this movie is, gruel.
Okay, not what I would have chosen.
Me either.
Yeah, it's the whole joke is I was trying to say cool and great at the same time, and I said gruel. I thought it was going to be, stop trying to make fetch happen, which I liked.
Now, that's in there, but it's, number whatever. I'm sorry, 31, 32, that's so fetch, stop trying to make fetch happen. What else do you have?
I got, I was half a virgin when I met him.
I didn't have that. I didn't have that one.
Yeah, I had, well, we already said, it's like I have ESPN or something, but I also liked the weird thing about hanging out with Regina is that I could hate her, and at the same time I wanted her to like me. Because not only is that a good line, that sums up the way you often feel as a teenager.
Sure.
I hate this person, but I still want them to like me. I also have when they talk about Gretchen, that's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
I had that one too. I loved that. That was a great quote. Especially if you kind of whisper at the end. It's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
I also like Damien's line when they're talking about moral imperatives. Does that mean I'm morally obligated to burn that lady's outfit? I liked that. Or I can't, when so it says, you made out with your cousin. Yeah, but he's my first cousin. Like, what?
You have your cousins, then you have your first cousins, then you have your second cousin. I don't think that's how it works. Oh.
So like when she's talking about the real world versus girl world, in girl world, all the fighting had to be sneaky.
Okay.
Now that, by the way, is a theme. My mother used to tell me that.
Oh.
She used to say, she said, I will tell you this right now, and I'm telling you from personal experience. Little boys and little girls are very different. Little boys are much nicer. Like, what do you mean? He says, well, if 2 boys get in a fight, one will hit the other with a toy truck, they'll cry, and it's over, and they're friends again, and it never comes up. Little girls will wait. They will plan. They will come at you subtly. Patton Oswalt talks about the same thing. Yes, little girl will come. I'm making a box for you. You won't know you're in it until you're inside it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have so few female friends. Do you have any other ones on your list before I get to mine?
No, I think we covered all the other ones. What about you? What did you have?
5. So one of them was one you had, which is the hair and the secrets, which I thought was hilarious. My first one was, he's almost too gay to function.
Oh, yes. I have that one down, too. I forgot.
Another one, which I may actually use, everyone in Africa speaks Swedish.
That was good.
This one I'm amazed you didn't have. If you touch each other, you will get chlamydia and die. This is the coach giving a sex talk.
Yep,
The first one was, if you have sex, you'll die.
You'll
Anyone
get
need a
pregnant
condom?
and die.
And the last one was, Coach Carr, step away from the underage girls.
That was a good one.
So, what with your list, my list, and the internet's list, I have a serious question, and that is, is this really a quotable film?
Absolutely. It is. There's so many good quotes, and most people that I've heard use the fetch one, but I think there's a lot of really good ones in here.
We changed it. You know, again, I'd never heard of this film. It's like, how quotable can be if I've never heard of it. And yeah, I mean, the 5 I pick up, those 5 I thought were funny. They were worth writing down in the moment because I liked them. You know, he's almost too gay to function. I know people like that. They have Full of Secrets is hilarious, and I probably won't use the chlamydia one, but it is
probably
funny.
not.
So yeah, I would say this is even if it's not a film for us, it's a very quotable film. And speaking of not a film for us, should we get to that part?
Let's get there. The finish.
So Max,
yeah,
I'm guessing you watched it the same time I did, which was last night.
Yep.
What did you think?
I was surprised at how much I liked it. I think it's incredibly well written. Again, it's uncomfortable because it does feel like I'm watching a movie that's not meant for me.
Right.
But the writing is just genius at a lot of points. It's smart. It's really funny. It moves along really well. It doesn't go on too long. None of the bits go on too long. I don't think there are any scenes that went on too long. I think it's really well done. What about you? This is, again, you saw it last night for the first time.
I did. Mm-hmm. And I was very pleased that I didn't have to pay for it because I'm getting tired of that, let me tell you. Especially if you have to buy a DVD on eBay and it's not a film you're likely to ever watch again.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Thank you. My initial notes, and I'm going to stand by these, there's in a lot of ways there is nothing new here. It is another high school film. It's dealing with cliches we've seen before. But it is a lot better written than most of those films. It never takes itself too seriously. Tina Fey is a delight both on and off camera. The actors are portraying white people that you've probably met or that you've heard about. Because let's face it, Kevin is... there's some nice Vietnamese girls in the background.
There's the cool Asians and the nerdy Asians.
But this is a very white people film.
Oh, and there were the unfriendly black kids.
That get literally
they get no
mentioned
lines
in that respect. No. But I think one of the reasons that we're not as uncomfortable as we could have been is that we didn't have to go through any of this. And sorry, people listening who did, like everybody else, but I do not miss the fact that none of our high school experiences looked anything like this.
They had their own weirdness, and they had their own issues. It's not like being a teenager is easy for anybody. But there was something,
especially finding out it's like, oh, who is that teacher going out with again? Okay. Oh, they're in front of J-board. Okay, because it's a student and it's not the first time. Yeah. But I think that it is very well done. There are a number of good quotes in it. There are some decent performances, and it is not a film for us. And so a lot of the parts that I didn't connect with, or I don't think worked for me, are literally that. They don't work for me. This has become an exceedingly popular film, which I didn't know, partially because I've never been a teenage girl. And I certainly wasn't one in 2004. I would say that if you have an interest or a soft spot for high school films, if you are closer to the age of the people in this film or were when the film was made, I think you'll like it. It's charming in some places. It's even delightful in a couple places. It's not new, but it's done better than a lot of the films that made these things cliche. That's
even the final, all these movies have the final dramatic gesture that the hero does to redeem themselves. It's surprisingly low key. It's not, huge and insane and, in front of thousands. It's a nice little brief speech. And, I think it worked. I enjoyed the ending. The only problem I had was everybody ends up with somebody except Damien. Yeah,
Oh,
everyone ends up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend except Damien. I thought that was a little unfair.
Yeah, they weren't going to do that, though. That's a whole gay thing, and we're not doing that, right? Because there's all this other stuff going on. It's really, because again, he's a guy. The film's not about guys. It's about girls. It's for women. It's for young women. That's fine. I see your point. It didn't bother me, and even though it should have.
Well, I'm outraged on your behalf.
Okay, I'll do one for you. I was upset that there were no Jewish people in this film.
I'm betting there were. They just didn't tell us.
They weren't even mentioned. Yeah. So there.
I think this skeezy guy who was asking the buttered muffin, I think he might have been. They don't say he is. They don't make a thing.
Would you like us to assign someone to butter your muffin? That's one of the top quotes. But anyway, that's our first film. But I have that poll question?
We do. Tell us again.
The poll question is, and it's obviously connected, what is your favorite high school movie? Whether it's realistic or probably not any way realistic, do let us know. And you can do so by emailing us directly like Dr. Lauren, and that is us@maxmikemovies.com. You can leave a comment on our Facebook page. That is the last bit of social media out there because all the rest of them have collapsed into a giant cryptocurrency fire of doom.
So sad.
So Facebook, we are, of course, Max Mike Movies. You can go to our website and leave comments there, either on the current episode, previous episodes. It's a film you would like to see us talk about, an entire series you'd like to see us do.
Or the coming alien invasion.
You
better talk to us.
But that is, of course, maxmikemovies.com. But we've just started this series, quotes, unquotes, and quotes. So, Max, who are we quoting next?
Now we're quoting one. This is a little more of an obscure one. It's older, but I'm afraid it deals with murder. And the worst kind of murder. Murder by death.
Not that.
Yes. We're going to watch, now admittedly, a film with some problematic elements to it. Peter Sellers. But
Murder poo?
Yes, dear. We're going to have a lovely murder poo. But a classic from the 70s, Murder by Death. Join us, or we'll murder you.
By death.
By death. By death. See you next week. This has been a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.